Hi, I'm Kinkas and I'm a synth DIY guy. Welcome to your channel for synth DIY, modular synthesizers, and new technologies applied to music and sound design. If that's the kind of thing you're into, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Today we're building the LL8 or Little 8 trigger sequencer by Robaux. Little 8 is the smaller sibling of Robaux's Sweet 16 and Sweet 16 Plus. It's an 8-voice, 16-step trigger sequencer with a very simple and intuitive user interface. It takes a clock signal into the central jack, and the 8 trigger outputs are the jacks surrounding it. Each step has a button and an LED, and depending on what mode you're on, some buttons take on different functions, as you'll see in the demo portion of this video. The kit comes with everything you need, including the electronic and hardware components, the nice black panel, the PCBs, a frame for the buttons and LEDs, a power cable, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trading cards of course, a user manual, and a nice illustrated build manual which you should follow closely while building. Building the Little 8 is very straightforward. Starting with the control board, place on the diodes, making sure they are correctly oriented. Solder them up and clip off the excess leads. Then place the buttons, make sure they are perfectly straight, and solder them on. Next come the LEDs. It looks like I lost the footage of me installing them, but just follow the instructions, make sure they're oriented correctly and are sitting very straight on the button's edges. Solder them carefully and clip off the excess leads. Now install the female headers, again making sure they are very straight, followed by the two metal standoffs. Then place the white frame over the buttons, LEDs and standoffs and proceed to snap on the jacks. Attach the panel, tightening the small screws for the standoffs as well as the nuts for the jacks. Turn it around and solder them up. Moving on to the main board, start by placing and soldering all of the resistors and diodes. I like to solder them from the top, then clip off the leads and just touch up my work from the bottom. Now solder on the timing crystal and the two small blue caps that go next to it on both sides, as well as the 100 nanofarad one that goes underneath. Now install the rectifier, making sure the plus and minus symbols match those on the board. Next install the IC sockets. I normally first solder the opposing corner pins to hold the sockets down, then proceed to solder the remaining terminals. Then comes the small 4-pin right angle header. Now install the two electrolytic capacitors. Make sure they are correctly oriented. The red mark on the caps should match the mark on the PCB. Now the step-down converter and the power socket. You can snap on the ICs into their sockets now, making sure they are oriented correctly. Now snap the male pin headers into the female ones on the control board. Fit the main board on and tighten the two screws that hold the boards together. Then solder the header pins. And that's it, you're done. Check the power header for shorts, snap on the power cable and plug it in to test. This module requires no calibration. Okay, so let's see what this thing can do. Little 8 is in this rack along with a bunch of Erica Synths drum voices. So I have two Pico drums, a sample drum, a clap, and there's a snare here off camera, you can't see it, but the clap and snare are actually being triggered together as one snappier snare sound. So first I'm going to turn on my system while holding the edit key. The bottom row here are the function keys. So I'll hold the second one, which is the edit key, and what that'll do is it'll start it up in debug mode, which is a mode that lets you simply manually trigger all of your voices so you can check them and see that they're all there. Let me just very quickly load up my project on sample drum here. Loaded it is, because I have a kick drum on channel 1 here, and there's a hi-hat on channel 2. Now channel 3 is another hi-hat being triggered from one of my pico drums, and 2 is the snare, and 5 over here is like a disco tom kind of voice that gets triggered from my second pico drum module right there. Now I can press the first and last buttons on the bottom row, and that'll get me out of debug mode. And already, since I'm sending it a clock from the 4MS QCD, it starts going. Let me stop the QCD here for a second. And this mode that it starts with is the mute and fill mode, which is the performance mode. So you can mute any of the channels and or create fills by pressing the bottom buttons here. Now the Little 8 has only 8 voices, not 16 like its bigger siblings, but it does have 16 steps. So that's why we can separate the grid like this, because since there's only 8 voices, you can have the 8 top buttons be mutes and the 8 buttons on the bottom be fills. But right now, let's go into program, which is the second button on the bottom row here. And now you see that the second to last row, the one that goes from 13 to 16, lights up. And these are the edit modes. Right now we're in step edit mode. There's also tap edit mode, random mode, and erase. So let's just erase everything on this pattern so that we can start fresh. When you select the channel to erase, it asks you if you're sure by showing this X, which would cancel the operation, and this line, which confirms it. And so we can just click on each channel and the line underneath to confirm it, and we've deleted all 8 channels, even though I'm only really using up to 5, because that's how many voices I have on this rack. That should be enough to give you an idea of the module in operation. Now let's go back to step edit, and we'll choose one of my hi-hats here and just give us a nice little hi-hat pattern, 16 steps here. Now as I start the QCD, already we hear that hi-hat pattern happening. Now I can click on edit again, and it's still on step. I will choose 1, which is my kick drum, and we'll give it a 1, just so we know where the 1 is. Now once I can feel the beat, I know where 1 is, I know what the subdivision is, I can click on edit again, and now I'll choose the tap edit mode, which means I can actually play it. So let's count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Let's give us another hi-hat. Nice. Couple of those disco hits. And there we have it, a nice pattern. Now here on pattern mode, I can see that I've just added pattern 6. The Little 8 comes with patterns pre-programmed everywhere else. So once you hit another one, another number here, at the end of the current pattern, it'll move to that new pattern. And you can chain them too. You can chain 2 together by pressing 1, and while you hold it, you press another. Now it's gonna start alternating between 6 and 7 here. See? Now you can create longer chains too by pressing 1, and then as you hold it, press another, as you hold it, press another, as you hold it, press another, and so on until you get, and it'll go through all of your selections one at a time. Not quite a song mode, especially because at the end it'll just stay swapping between the last 2 selections you made. Still, it's a pretty cool feature to have on such a simple trigger sequencer. Now let's go back to editing, and we can randomize. So the third edit mode is random. So let's randomize the snare there. Oh, you know what? Let me go back to song and just choose 6, so we stay on a single pattern while we're editing it. Choose random again here and randomize that snare. So this is a cool way to get out of your comfort zone, out of your usual beats that you would make, and come up with something different. Randomize all of them and just press them as many times as you need to get something that you like. This could be a cool fill pattern, actually. So you could maybe stay on 7 here. And just go to 6 for a fill. And then back to 7. So it's very intuitive, very fun, very easy to use. Back on edit here, I can now erase and start again if I want to. And I can just do everything on step edit if I want to. So let's choose hi-hat here. Now we'll choose the other hi-hat. Press the edit button again, choose the kick drum. Let's do a kick 4 on the floor here. Make it a little faster. I just tapped a new tempo on the 4MS QCD over there on the other rack. And now let's press edit again, choose channel 2, which is the snare. Cool. Now I can do some ratchets in performance mode here. See? Cool. Very fun little sequencer. Easy to build, easy to play. Very nice to have on a rack. Now each time I edit something, the save button starts blinking. It means that there are unsaved changes. So you just press it and now everything's saved. So when if you turn off your system and turn it back on, it'll be exactly as you left it. A couple other things. I'm here on pattern mode. If I want 4 copies of 7 that I can then alter slightly and have variations on the same pattern, all I need to do is press the pattern switch here. We'll choose 7 and 1, all while holding the pattern button. Now when I go to 1, there it goes, and it's an exact copy of pattern 7, right? Copy 1 to 2, 1 to 3, and 1 to 4. Now if I chain them, you should see that they're all the same pattern. Oh, I didn't quite copy it to number 4. Let's try it again. Copy 3 to 4. Cool. Now I can make slight variations between 1 and 2. So let's go to 2 here, and we'll change the hi-hat pattern. And we'll change the other one too. Now when we go back to pattern mode here and make them follow each other, now you have a 32-step pattern, right? That's really cool. Here's something I forgot to mention on the mute and fill mode. If I want to change patterns without getting out of this page, I can just hold the button and change it to a different pattern. See? That's called quick selection. And it's nifty to have in this performance mode, so you don't have to change to this, change it, and then go back. You can just do it like that. Nice, right? Let's go back to pattern 1. Why don't we turn on a little bass line that That's my mug slicer controlling the Frequency Central product here, just to give it a little context. Sounds really nice. Let's turn some of these hi-hats down a little bit. Get a snappier snare. I have my pitch for the kick here, and the decay. The hi-hat pitch to right here, pitch and decay. A little faster. Super cool. So I think that's it for today. Fun module. Hope you like it. Hope you like this video. If you did, again, I ask that you like, subscribe, maybe join my Patreon, and help me continue making these fun videos. So see you soon, and stay noisy.